and even 50. And with this group, I would provide training, free training, and when they are done with the training, we provide them with tools. For example, if you are trained as a mechanic, we release you with tools for being a mechanic. If you train as a trailer, we release you with a trailing machine. For the youth, I would encourage a good number of the youth to further their studies. When they go, the county government and my management will pay their school fees abroad. When they go out there, they'll get visa to further their education. And we'll take care of the fees and accommodation. Okay. But while they are there, they'll be able to work. And
your time is up, but why abroad? Why not within the borders of this country? Don't we have what it takes to do that?
I was to come to that, but I'm saying I'll encourage a number, because when I encourage a number of them, I'll kill two birds. One, they'll get employment. The second, they'll be able to work for a few hours. And those who are wise, they'll work and send money back home and they support their parent. And for the local youth, I'll also get them to workshop and training. And I'll do the same as for the age gap between 30 and 40. I'll give them tools to start small businesses. Okay, Ms. Nancy Mwadime, your time is up of the Usawa Wote Party. Mr. Kenneth Nyamwamu, how would you respond to the sample questions from the people of Nairobi County?
So first things first, let's make Nairobi business friendly. Let's invite international investors. Let's promote local investors. Let's not criminalize people who are making a living. If we bring international investors and have them in every constituency, people will have jobs, and that will improve our lives of living. Let's reduce our business licenses by 50%, so that whatever businesses we have, they are not, the cost of doing business is a little lower, and they are able to do business effectively in Nairobi. And the other thing is, especially the issue of garbage. Let's set up a garbage collection system where we have days where and let the city council buy trucks. If they are not able to buy trucks, let them lease those trucks. Let them lease from companies, partner with companies to bring trucks to collect, to have collection days, and take them to collection centers.
Your time is up, Mr. Nyamwamu.
Can I have a little bit so I finish?
Proceed. 30 seconds added. Sorry. Granted.
So let's get these people these young boys who are picking up garbage. Let's train them, empower them, show them the sanitary way to collect garbage, so that when the system is there, these boys can be incorporated in the county, and then the garbage can be taken to the collection centers. The other thing is when I'm governor, I'm going to fight with KEMSA. KEMSA is diverting medication from county hospitals.
Your time is up, Mr. Kenneth Nyamwamu. That is another government agency which is national. We appreciate is the source point of pharmaceuticals to the counties, and that is a topic we can discuss another day.
All right, so there's a question that was also asked. I deliberately left it because this is what actually ushers us into the next section. And we're going to be looking into your vision for the transport sector in Nairobi County. One of the residents of Nairobi County is concerned actually about the traffic jams that we witness each and every day if you live in the capital. Esther, what is your plan to end the perennial traffic jam menace if elected?
Thank you so much. About transport, I would say that if we have proper and efficient transport system that will work, it's good. If I'm elected, I would think of having to refurbish trains, have rails, train bringing people to town. That would decongest the traffic. I'd also have to have a consultation with the Matatu people and see how best we can have the public transport organized. I would also look at having designated lanes on the road where any buses or a car that has more than 3 people can use that lane so that it's more faster to have them.
Your time is up, but are those, I'll add you 30 seconds. Are those not efforts that have been tried before? We've seen that in the capital already. Is there anything that you offer as an alternative for the residents of Nairobi?
If you can ask the question again.
I just want to inform you that those are things that the previous administrations have tried, using trains and also consultations with those who are operating in the public service sector. And of course, you know, is there something that you plan to do that will be different to fix the perennial problem of traffic jams?
It's to encourage people to do carpooling if they are going the same direction. And if we had institutions like schools that are properly equipped and people take their kids to school where they stay, it's much better than crossing across to take a child to Nairobi Primary School when they live in Dadora. So I would reinforce that method of having the schools at their ward levels so that we can ease the congestion of traffic.
Your time is up. Esther Waringa, Independent Party. Haman Grewal, what's your approach to traffic snarl-up and the menace in the city?
Okay. So transport is a fairly complex issue. I'll try to speak on it in 1 minute, but generally it cannot be resolved in this much time. Once again, we break it down. We have 3 classes of people. We have the lower, middle, and upper class individuals, and each desire a different level of transport solutions. What often happens is, through my research, is I found when international guests come to Nairobi, how many of them are comfortable using a system such as matatus? How many of them understand how matatus work? It's not a large percentage. So I reflected on it. I came up with 3 solutions. I hope I have the time to touch on them. Number 1. The solution to traffic is not creating more roads. Because if you look at the history of Kenya, look at Thika Highway, for example, that was the more road solution. What we need is, because of the expanding population in Nairobi, we need to have structured mass transport systems that are of quality, that would fairly reduce transport. If I had a solution for me to come from Westlands to Karen, for example, that's quality public transport, I would use that.
Your time is up, but I add you 30 seconds. Proceed.
All right. I would use that. So we need to have quality mass transport. Something like bringing in double-decker buses into Nairobi would reduce the cost of transport even for the government, for individuals, and achieve the same thing. We can digitize the operation of matatus. Someone with a smartphone, the driver, I can track his phone. And as a user, I can see how far my matatu is and how long it will take. I link my account with that matatu, and then we can also have promotions for students. And lastly, we can also have a digital carpooling system where if I have a saloon car, for example, other people coming to Karen can simply share the cost of transport with me. And now this touches on the different classes we have, that's lower, middle, and upper class.
Your time is up.
All right, we move to you, Nancy Mwadime. Just your strategy of solving the traffic jams in Nairobi County.
Before I would think of solving the issue of the transport, I would start by having everyone in Nairobi be able to access the transport, especially the people with special need. I would want us to introduce buses which are accessible to the person with a wheelchair. He can just driving and lifted to the bus and stay in the wheelchair, and when he gets to his destination, just is walk out, so that we can also protect their dignity. About the issue of the traffic jam, this is something which has always been discussed again and again. And at times I look at it, the people who discuss are not even the people who are using public transport. Because when you put the bus stage so far from town, then we expect people to walk that distance. I find that very unfair. For me, I would say I would want to come up with a solution before I get the stage out. Okay. But before I get to that...
Your time is up. Okay, I add you 30 seconds, but again, clarity.
So before I get to the solution, I would advise that we have buses whereby they come across. For example, if the buses are coming from Global, they come closing over to the other side. We have designated road whereby the vehicles will come and close to the other side without saying that the bus stop or the stage will be at Global, and then people have to walk all the way to town.
All right, and just to come to you, Mr. Nyamwamu, as well on the same issue of the perennial traffic jams in this country's capital, what is your solution?
So first, let's expand the use of BRTs in our city, number one. Number two, let's introduce shifts, working shifts. Let people not come at the same time and leave at the same time. Services that don't need people to come to start work at 8, they can have shifts from maybe 11 to, I don't know, add 8 hours to that. But the concept is to have people come to work at different shifts. In essence, there was something that was talked about in 2013 about introducing Nairobi into a 24-hour economy. Let's introduce that 24-hour economy where we can have shifts, some people come at this time, or that time. Another thing we can do about congestion is to have car holidays, days where, we don't allow private cars or cars of particular whatever to come into the city. Let everybody use the BRTs or whatever public transportation is available to come to the city.
Thank you.
That will help with decongestion.
Your time is up. And I start with Esther Waring on podium number 1. Your closing remarks, 30 seconds, and kindly adhere to the time.
I would say that see that because the county government has more of the functions, yet not enough money to fulfill those functions. And the other thing is that I would say is that I've lost my mind.
Okay, and your time is up.
so much.
That is all I would say, that in partnership with the national government and the county government would really bring a smooth running of this city.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Haman Grawal?
Okay. Closing remarks are normally a lot longer, but I'll try 30 seconds. So, I'm the Safina candidate for Nairobi governor. I'm 25 years old, and my candidature came as a shock to many. But I feel I've outlined the qualities I have that allowed me to be backed by Jimmy Richard Wanjigi and Paul Mwite for this position. I've come up with solutions for free healthcare, free education, and jobs for people across Kenya. And you can read my manifesto on harman47.com. Through strategy, this was also my manifesto launch that cost me 0 shillings, again showcasing how I can use little resources and accomplish a lot of things.
Your time is up.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Ms. Nancy Wamboi Mwadime, 30 seconds.
My closing remark, I would want to speak to the voters and tell them that if they vote for Nancy Wamboi, they will be voting for a leader who have them at heart. And I also want to advise them that it is time they choose or they select a leader who is a leader not because he's coming from big parties, not because he's giving them money, but a leader who can go and work for the people. The leader who will go and know that he has been sent there and be a leader for Wananchi.
Your time is up. Mr. Nyamwamu.
I want Nairobi voters to know there is a choice. And the choice is not necessarily to either choose between either Sakaja or Rigathi. There are other candidates. There have been issues where, the media has kind of contributed to the issue of us not getting our word out there. But now that we are here, it's our platform to say, Nairobi, Sakaja, Rigathi quit on you, do not be forced to choose him. Sakaja was there 5 years ago. For 5 years, didn't do anything, gave up the functions. Please, there are other choices here with manifestos.
Your time's up.
And people who are willing to work.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nyamwamu. And just to point out, this platform has been organized by a majority of media houses across the country, and you're being watched on several television stations and being heard on radio stations. So we really do appreciate you creating time for us tonight. And of course, that is how we wrap this debate. And now, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, our viewers at home, we end it here for now. Our appreciation to the candidates and their respective campaigns for honoring voters with this duty to debate.
And we thank you for watching. Our second debate involves Senator Johnson Sakaja of the United Democratic Alliance Party and Polycarp Igathe of the ruling Jubilee Party and the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition political party, and comes to you live at exactly 8 p.m. My name is Ayub Abdikadir Abdi.
Check it. Let's talk about banking. Or let's talk about dreams and goals. Your dreams, your goals.
If you're like Louise, you value doing biz with ease. Or maybe you're like Dan, a family man with a plan. At Diamond Trust Bank, it starts with one dream, one goal, one deposit, and one transaction. Pamoja, let's make it happen. So don't just bank with us, bank on us.
Enroll at Catholic University of Eastern Africa for courses in nursing, law, business, economics, computer science, education, community health and development, actuarial science, international relations, counseling psychology, regional integration, and theology. September intake ongoing at Langata and Eldoret campuses. Email admissions@quer.edu or visit quer.edu. Quer for innovative, marketable graduates.
I think the most important quality of a leader is wisdom, so that the decisions that are being made now, he knows how, it's like a chess player who sees 10 moves ahead.
Unajua wakati ambapo mlipa ushuru analipa ushuru wake, anataka aone angalau kazi ya pesa yake ambayo anailipia. Hii pesa tunaamini kwa zinaishia kwa mifuko za watu binafsi.
I think it's important that wealth is declared frequently, and if people have found ways to accumulate wealth very quickly, absolutely good for them, as long as, of course, that is done honestly and ethically.
We need leaders who are well educated to understand the challenges that we face in the modern world.
Kwa mfano, mtu mwenye amesomea ukandarasi wa barabara, mkiwa na kiongozi ambaye amesomea hiyo taaluma, una uhakika kwamba barabara za eneo lako zitakuwa zina usimamizi mzuri.
Karibu CAM. By offering market linkages, networking opportunities, and technical assistance, Kenya Association of Manufacturers assists its members to grow and scale up their businesses. Join us and let us work together to grow the manufacturing sector. Becoming a CAM member is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Kenya Association of Manufacturers, driving global competitiveness.
What is a secondary school in Kenya? It ranges from 106 high-cost national schools educating 3% of the learners, where you find ultra-modern libraries and laboratories, the most experienced principals and teachers, and the best teacher-student ratios. Then we have 7,019 some barely established, understaffed, lacking basic facilities sub-county schools, educating over 60% of learners. Given that KCSE is the most consequential examination in our education system, isn't it fair that we level the ground for all learners to excel by narrowing the capacity gaps between the worst and best schools to deliver quality education? Usawa Agenda calls for a sub-county schools upgrading program and a change from the capitation model to enable small schools to grow. Without these, SDG 4 is a false promise to most Kenyan children.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party.
Semeni Babakea. Babakea.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
tunasema kazi ni nini?
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Well, a data analyst, an IT practitioner, and two real estate CEOs or experts in their particular field. Those are the four candidates that showed up for the first debate that's run from about 5:30 p.m. and concluded a couple of minutes ago here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. We are live with the first ever inaugural Nairobi Gubernatorial debate. This coming just before the Deputy President's debate that will happen next week, and the presidential debate that will happen the week after. Many thanks for staying with us. We are live across all TV platforms and radio platforms as well. My name is Wahiga Mwaura from Citizen TV at our Studio B, where my guests are on standby to analyze what has been a very interesting last hour and a half or so. Who showed up here and who did not show up? I'll tell you who didn't show up. Dennis Kotha didn't show up. Agnes Kagura did not show up. Cleophas Kio did not show up. But the other four of the seven that had been, of course, cleared by the IEBC and had met the threshold 5% and below in popularity rankings in the last opinion polls were there. Also, you know that in the next 1 hour or so, we'll have the second debate that will be featuring Polycarp Igathe of the Jubilee Azimio Coalition, and of course, Johnson Sakaja of UDA. So stay tuned for that. But meanwhile, my analysts on standby, they've been keenly following the action here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. And Professor Odote, I want to actually start with you with that same question that I began with. Who showed up? And in your view, who should have stayed at home this evening?
Actually, I think for me, except for Haman, the rest should have stayed at home.
The rest should have stayed.
The rest should have stayed at home.
You need to quantify that.
I think if I said at the start that if you are a fringe candidate, you need to leave an impression on people, and you need to be very clear about what you say. You're given 1 minute, talk about the real issue. I struggle to find what the real issue on each of them were. Starting with Nancy, I think Nancy's real issue that stands out for me is her ideas about getting all tribes to fight corruption, that bring everybody together, then corruption is fought. As a friend of mine would say, nonsense on stilts.
Prof, let me cut you there, because I'm told one of the candidates for the next debate is actually expected here any minute now, Polycarp Igathe. And so let's hear from Leila Mohammed now, who's on standby with that update.
Well, Wahiga, it's been 90 minutes full of debates and engagement around the capital city. That is Nairobi. That was the first debate. The second one is incoming in the next few minutes. And those two gentlemen who are expected in this second tier of the debate are already in this vicinity of the Catholic University of Eastern Africa choir here at the Langata campus. We are aware that Polycarp Igathe of the Jubilee Party and the Azimio One Kenya Alliance is already here. He is expected to drive into this red carpet area any moment. Now, as you can see, this is an entire team of the media representation awaiting this arrival. Those two gentlemen above the 5% capacitation of this polling that was done before this criteria was brought into the fore. Four have already been taken through questions in the first year of this debate, and quite an interesting sitting there where matters at the heart of the residents of this beautiful county of Nairobi have been undertaken, from unemployment, from the question of living within the city, from the issues around garbage, the stinking issues of garbage in the city, and the prospects of making good money around the county of Nairobi are matters that are quite at the center and the heart of the people who call Nairobi home. Remember, Nairobi doesn't live in isolation. It is not an island. It is supported by 4 other counties and towns. Across those other counties are also considered the bedroom states of Nairobi County, and in totality, about 9 million people live, work and do business around the capital city. That is County 047. So we are keeping an eye on the lights. This is where the introductory session will be, and the gentleman of the moment will be driving down any moment now. Wahiga and your panel, you've been discussing around what are some of the expectations of the voters who are expected to come here and listen to the people who want to replace Anne Kananu as the 4th governor of the county of Nairobi. This gentleman who is driving in any time now is no stranger to City Hall, having served for 6 months in 2017 as the Deputy Governor of the County of Nairobi. This under the Sonko administration, having to leave office. Those are some of the questions that were undertaken in this first debate, and as I'm being told by my director, the team is walking down into the red carpet area where we'll be receiving them. Myself and Francis Gashuri from Citizen Television will be taking them through the initial questions. How do they feel? Looking at how they have adorned themselves. Are they ready for this debate? This debate will be undertaken by NTV's Mark Masai as well as KTN News' Zubeida Kananu. It will be a double language interview, and they will have 90 minutes to explain to the people of Nairobi County and indeed the 47 counties that depend on Nairobi in interconnectivity in one way or the other, on why they are considered the best candidate for this beautiful city of Nairobi. Francis, it's been an emotional afternoon this evening. The expectations are quite high. The gentlemen at the back of our hands really going through the paces. They are the people who call the shots for the media houses. They are the think tank behind this special broadcast that is coming to you live online, on radio, on television. Wow. Anywhere you're looking at us, you're seeing this special debate. What are their expectations as the people behind this initiative?
Absolutely, Leila. Breaking the newsroom boundaries today. No particular station, no competition, no nothing. Just bringing Kenyans an opportunity, giving Kenyans an opportunity to hear, see, engage the guys who want to be governors of Nairobi. And there you can see, as you rightly put it, Leila, you can see Polycarp
and
the
his
Jubilee
team.
candidate and his team. I can see from afar Rachel Shebesh, the Senate candidate of the Azimio team, Edwin Sifuna. And let them come over. Here is the red carpet.
Good evening, sir. Welcome to Choir.
Welcome. How does it feel to be here?
It feels very good. It's a cool Nairobi evening, and thank you very much for having us.
You look quite sharp. You're smartly dressed. Are you having any goosebumps today?
Absolutely not, especially when I'm flanked by Edwin Sifuna here, our incoming senator, and our leader here, Rachel Shebesh. We're very, very proud to be here. And good evening, Nairobi.
The transition from running mate in 2017 to gubernatorial candidate in 2022, how does it feel for you?
It feels exciting, and I really thank our party, Azimio la Umoja, for earning me the ticket, and for the people of Nairobi for the confidence they have shown, the excitement to our ticket, and we want to assure them we shall not let them down, and we are here to tell them what we are going to do for them, and how we are going to do it, and how we are going to do it together.
Without preempting what my colleagues Mark Masai and Zubeida will do, what are your expectations in this debate?
I just expect that we shall show the maturity of the Republic of Kenya, especially in Nairobi. This is Kenya's sitting room, and people behave very well in the living room. So we are going to show maturity. We are going to demonstrate that we are truly ready to serve.
Shebesh, why would your company gather here? Why not allow him to be here and watch on TV?
Well, I am leading the campaign for Azimio in Nairobi under the Azimio umbrella, and therefore I am here to not only lend my support, but to just assure Nairobians that Azimio is the team. And it is a team effort. It's not only about the governorship, because we know that without the role of the senator who oversees that body, which is the devolved government of Nairobi, that also we don't have a complete team. So I am here to just say that as Azimio, we are very proud that we have a governor incoming who is sharp and brilliant, and I think the people of Nairobi today will see why we chose Igathe.
Sifuna, there is no senator debate, absolutely, but umedandia pia.
Sijadandia, you know that in the event the people of Nairobi are gracious enough to give me the position of senator, I am going to be oversighting this gentleman who would be elected governor. We want to hear from them and know, as the office of a senator, that what they are proposing represents the best use of the resources for the people of Nairobi. We have campaigned together, we know the issues that the people have raised, and we believe that we have the best solution as Azimio. I am actually very proud to work with my governor candidate because he's a credible candidate. He's somebody who starts off with credibility, and we're hoping that he will demonstrate to the rest of the county that in fact our ticket represents the best ticket for the governorship.
Asante sana, we allow you to proceed.
Welcome,
Asante, karibuni sana.
And feel free, that has been quite an initial discussion, Francis. The Azimio One Kenya Alliance team just being introduced to the media team here as they take on the red carpet. Waihiga, let me take it back to you with your panel. You've seen how the Azimio One Kenya Alliance team has come full throttle, and they are hoping that this will be the debate that will turn the 25% of undecided voters towards their side as we await the UDA candidate Johnson Sakaja.
Indeed, Leila, I believe the term political entourage was exemplified there with the team that has flanked Polycarp Igathe, Azimio One Kenya candidate for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat. He had some interesting things to say about the kind of politics he's hoping for, mature, and we'll be discussing some of the statements that he made there together with his team, with my panel. But first things first, we've had another debate that's just ended. What are the immediate reactions from some of the candidates that had to face those moderators there for the last 90 minutes or so? Let's hear from Beatrice Gatonye on the other side. Beatrice.
Asante sana Waihiga Mwaura pamoja na wachanganuzi hapo na bila shaka wenzetu upande ule mwingine. Kama jinsi ambavyo umesikia, Polycarp Igathe tayari amewasili katika eneo hili akijiandaa kwenye awamu ya pili ya mjadala huu wa jioni ya leo. Lakini nisiseme mengi, kwenye mjadala wa kwanza wa wawaniaji ugavana katika kaunti ya Nairobi, mengi ya masuala yameweza kujitokeza katika mjadala huo, huku masuala ya maji, masuala ya ufisadi, masuala ya nyumba, masuala ya msongamano wa magari ni baadhi ya masuala ambayo yameweza kujitokeza, huku hawa wawaniaji wakiwaelezea wakazi wa Nairobi jinsi wataweza kukabiliana na changamoto hizi ambazo zinawakumba wakazi hawa. Na ningependa kuungana naye Kenneth Nyamwamu ambaye alikuwa hapo jioni ya leo, ambaye pia anawania kiti cha ugavana tarehe 9 mwezi Agosti. Bwana Nyamwamu, unadhani kwamba umeweza kuwahimiza wapiga kura takriban milioni 2.4 wa kaunti ya Nairobi kukupigia kura, na hasa kuhusiana na swala la ufisadi? Unadhani ulifanya vipi katika swala hilo ukilinganisha na wenzako ambao mlikuwa mkikabiliana nao katika swala hili?
Asante sana. I think tumeuza sera zetu kwa hii platform, tumeonyesha manifesto zetu, and I feel confident, nimeconvince watu wa Nairobi kuwa I'm the right man for the job. Jambo la pili kwa ufisadi, nitairudia kile nilisema, until tuache kuyumba kwa mambo ya ufisadi, hatutarekebisha anything, hatutadeal na makatel, hatutadeal na watu wanaiba pesa kutoka kwa county. Ile kitu imebaki saa hii ni kunyonga watu wanaiba pesa.
Asante sana, na kutakia kila laheri. Natumai wakazi wa Nairobi ambao wanatazama jioni ya leo wataweza kuamua iwapo basi wewe ndiwe utakaye kuwa ukiongoza kaunti hii kwa miaka 5 ijayo. Asante sana kwa muda wako. Ningependa kuungana naye pia wa chama cha Safina ambaye anawania kiti cha ugavana kaunti ya Nairobi, Herman Gerwal. Asante sana kwa kujumuika nasi jioni ya leo. Wakazi wa Nairobi wamekuwa wakikutazama jioni ya leo, na wafanyi biashara ndogo ndogo wamekuwa wakisikiza sera zako na jinsi ambavyo utaweza kuwasaidia na kuinua maisha yao. Unadhani kwamba umeweza kuwahimiza wakazi hawa?
Nimesema running mate yangu anafanya kazi na KCB kwa SME department. Mimi nataka kusaidia kila mtu. Kama wewe ni mtoto ya Sky ama wewe ni mtoto ya mechanic, nitasaidia wewe, kwa sababu mimi sitaki baadaye ya miaka 20 wewe unakaa hivi. So nataka tubadilisha maisha ya watu wengi kwa Nairobi, na natuma teknolojia ya kisasa, nafundisha watu. Pia nimeleta elimu ya bure. So kama mtu anataka kusoma, tasoma, tapata kazi, tabadilisha maisha.
Asante sana Greywall na kutakia kila laheri. Naomba nijumuike naye Nancy Mwadime ambaye pia ni mwaniaji wa kiti cha ugavana kaunti ya Nairobi. Takriban wapiga kura milioni 2.4 jioni ya leo wamekuwa kikutazama pamoja na Wakenya kwa jumla. Swala la uzoaji taka ni swala ambalo umeweza kukabiliana nalo. Ukilinganisha na wenzako ambao mlikuwa mkijadiliana nao swala hili, unadhani umefanya vipi?
Majina langu ni Nancy Wamboi Mwadime.
Naomba tafadhali unieleze kuhusiana na swala la taka, uzoaji taka jijini Nairobi. Ukilinganisha na wengine tu kwa uwepesi, labda unieleze unadhani umefanya vipi na unadhani kwamba umeweza kumhimiza mkazi wa Nairobi akupigie kura iwapo utaweza kukabiliana na swala hili?
Mimi naona nimefanya vizuri sana kwa sababu nataka kusema Nairobi kila mfanyi biashara mdogo mkubwa, sisi sote tuko Nairobi na tumekuja na tuko hapa tutafute na tufanye Nairobi ikue pahali tunaweza kaa pamoja na peace.
Asante na kutakia kila laheri. Anaungana pia na mwaniaji Esther Waringa, mmoja wa wale ambao walikuwa hapa jioni ya leo. Asante sana kwa kufika. Unadhani kwamba mjadala huu kulinganisha na wengine umefanya vipi jioni ya leo?
Naweza sema nimefanya sawa. I've done well. I've given it my best. And I must say that I can be able to identify with the lowest class of people since I was raised and born in the slums. And at the same time, I'm in business. And I believe that both levels of people, I can identify with them once I'm given a chance to be governor of this Nairobi.
Asante sana Esther, kila laheri. Wakazi wa Nairobi, mmepata fursa ya kutazama awamu ya kwanza ya mjadala wa wawaniaji ugavana katika kaunti ya Nairobi. Tarehe 9 mwezi Agosti tutaweza kuamua mbivu na mbichi na ni nani atakaye kuwa akichukua kiti hicho kutoka kwa Ann Kananu. Kwa sasa ningependa nikuelekeze kwa Wahiga Mwaura ambaye yuko na wachanganuzi jioni ya leo, watueleze kwa undani baadhi ya masuala haya ambayo nimeweza kusema kwamba yameweza kuibuka kwenye mjadala wa kwanza, waweze kuingia kwa undani, kisha baadaye awamu ya pili ya mjadala wa jioni ya leo utakuwa ukingwananga. Wahiga Mwaura, kwako.
Asante sana Beatrice Gatonye. Wacha mimi niendelee na mahojiano yangu hapa na wageni na wachanganuzi wangu. I hope hapo sijakosea sana. And even as we carry on with our debate here, remember Polycarp Igathe in the building with about another 30 minutes or so to that second debate that will be happening this evening here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. We continue watching the clock as we await and anticipate the arrival of the UDA candidate Johnson Sakaja. Remember, it is a two-person debate, both of them having polled 5% or more in the last 3 opinion polls in sort of popularity rankings, and that's the debate that will be hosted by Zubeida Kome of KTN and Mark Masai of NTV. So stay tuned for that. One candidate already in the building. He's given his expectations. He's come with his team as well, and they are confident, they are bullish that they have what it takes to put a good showing in the debate. He says he has no goosebumps, no fear. That is Polycarp Igathe, and we now wait for the other candidate to make his way here for that. Of course, we were also reviewing the previous debate. You've heard from those 4 candidates, Herman Greywall Esther Waringa Thairu, and Nancy Mwadime, and of course Kenneth Nyamwamu, and my panelists were quickly giving their take on what the first debate was like as they also dive into what they're anticipating with that second debate. Karen Wakoli, who's to my far left there, can also weigh in on this. Who came out on top, who made a difference in the first debate in your view, and who didn't?
Wow, so in fact, let me just start where Dr. Odote left off at. He said maybe we should have just had one person show up and the rest should have said at home.
I don't know if that's a fair characterization, but please proceed.
Yeah, so for me, I would say I applaud each and every one of those candidates for just showing up. They honored us with their presence. That's really awesome. But some of the things that are critical in terms of just selling yourself as a leader, posture, for instance, I was looking at the posture. I was looking at the outlook. Do those individuals inspire confidence in me as a voter to give them my vote or no? The confidence, ability to communicate and communicate clearly. I was looking out for that. And a few things came out, among all those 4 individuals. Like,
if you had a best communicator award this evening for the first debate, who would you give it to?
You know what? I work for young people. I serve young people. This evening, I am so proud of young people. That
Okay.
when young people are given opportunity, they give their best. Haman did an awesome job. He's a great communicator. He seems to have thought through his ideas and his agenda beforehand. He was outstanding to me, I think. Practical steps in terms of mentoring young people, starting funding mechanisms for young entrepreneurs, digitizing the economy within Nairobi County government. Very practical, salient steps that he wants to take. So I think for me this evening, he stood out.
Prof. Omenya, your reading of the overall quality of debate that was had today. Of course, now Kenya's not having watched a Nairobi gubernatorial debate at this level before, this being the first time, even as you respond to what the other panelists have had to say. Also, talk about the quality of the debate that you saw.
Yeah, thank you, Waiga. Of course, I'm professor, so I'm forced to mark, to issue marks. Okay, let's declare that all the candidates failed, but all, actually.
All failed?
All failed.
What's your marking scheme?
Some came very close. It's 40%. I think Brewell and Nyamwamu scored over 35, and the other two ladies did about 20%. This is an issue. I mean, on a serious note, I think none of the candidates thought about any serious issue affecting this city to good depth. Whether you're looking at transport, whether you're looking at housing, whether you're looking at small business, it was all very shallow, all very, very trivial. When it came to governance issues and even the politics of the city, relationship between national and county government, again, you could not see any candidate understand how government runs, how the politics of the city is worked, and how they'll weave their way around it. But one of the reasons why I failed them is that none of them came out with any interesting idea. They're recycling old ideas and in a very, very shallow way. Across board.
You don't think a border app for the whole county
and 3D printing of homes to reduce costs? And I mean, they're all. You see, the truth of the matter is that you ask yourself, from what planet do these people come from? My point is that we were hoping that at least a candidate, we're hoping that these are fringe candidates with very specific agendas from their parties, be it agenda around youths, be it agenda around business and so on. And what I would have really wanted to see was a candidate at least pick one issue and run away with it, whatever issue it was really.
And you did not see that?
And across board, I mean, I did not see anything, be it from transport, be it SMEs, be it revenue generation.
You didn't see even?
No, none.
Okay.
Zero.
Okay,
Wow.
Philip, before I come to you, Wanjiro, can you really go deep in 2 minutes?
I don't think, well...
Are we being overly unfair?
Well, I'm definitely not going to be as strict as Professor there. I come from a civil society perspective, an inclusion perspective, and my view is quite different. I think it's great that they put themselves forward. I think in time, we are going to get more serious candidates, and I think it's a reflection on the parties in a way. I think in terms of Haman Grawal, the ideas he put forward may not be necessarily new. I think in terms of technology, some very good ideas, maybe not new earth-shattering, but that goes to show that we have an implementation gap because we have loads of good policies that aren't implemented. So don't blame the candidates for not having new ideas because we are not lacking new ideas. What we wanted here is to have a more convincing kind of a manifesto. And I felt that Haman Grawal, as a youth, presented himself very well. I think he executed his points very well. His closing was excellent. He brought in his party. He brought in his party leadership. And listening to him, I could see if he stays this course, you can see a leader in the making. Having said all that, I do think there is a need for candidates to start at a level that, to find their level. You want to build your political name and your capital MCA is a very valid position, and I just felt there were good ideas, good intent. It was more like a public participation session, and I was thinking it would be great if these people put themselves forward for MCA and show a commitment to political change.
We invited them for a debate, not a public participation
in terms of
session, but
yes, the level of contribution was more of a public participation session, and I think the level of contribution also means they should start, if I'm going into a job, I start at my entry level and build up.
Okay.
You don't go to the top without the credentials. So yes, a bit of reality. I think the last thing is, in terms of the no-shows, Agnes Kagore hasn't been doing too badly in terms of the polls. She may lose out by not showing up, and we may see Herman Grawal really gain from being here. And then, of course, the issue of skeletons. When you put yourself forward for political office, your skeletons will come out, and you could lose very badly. And it could affect even your private and personal life. So, yes, do your homework on all fronts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philip, let me allow you to win, but I'm told we'll also be hearing from Francis Gachuri shortly as well. But Bonakisia, was there any highlight for you this evening?
Well, I think, first of all, let me join my colleagues in congratulating those who turned up for the debate.
So that's your first
I think it's only
highlight.
fair, yes, because you must be brave to present yourself in such a high-level debate. But if you ask me, if I were to mark, I'm not a professor, but I mark exams. I would mark them 3.5 out of 10. Okay?
All of them?
All of them. 3.5 out of 10, some would get even 1. Apart from, I think it was Kenneth and Herman, they probably score about 3.5. All right? And just as Wanjiru said, I think you need to know where your place is.
Okay.
At a point,
Philip, I may need to interrupt you for a developing event here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I'm told Johnson Sakaja is in the premises. And there we go. Francis Gachuri has that update for us. We've been waiting for this, Gachuri.
Absolutely, Wahiga, and good afternoon to you once again. Johnson Sakaja, the UDA candidate, is within the premises, just like Polycarp Igathe was a short while ago. He should be walking down this route shortly, so that we can also get an opportunity.
So Gachuri, we are expecting the Senator of Nairobi County, the current senator who is expecting to become Nairobi's 4th governor, Johnson Sakaja of UDA, who we are aware is already in the vicinity. Less than 5 minutes ago, Polycarp Igathe arriving here with an entire entourage of people and personalities who believe in his wisdom. We are just hoping that Sakaja has already been accredited and will be walking in a similar fashion to how his competitor and co-debater will be received. This turning out to be quite an interesting evening. We were expecting that this debate was going to happen at 7:30. Now we're hoping for it to begin at 8 p.m. For another 90-minute round of questions and answers. Some of the questions being undertaken in the first debate, inclusive of insecurity, unemployment, the cost of unga, traveling around the city. How does this city look like? Why is it important to this country that is Kenya? The gentleman expected to walk into this red carpeted area is no stranger to politics of Nairobi, having served as a senator for the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
Why is it important for him to be here today to try and convince Nairobians as the best candidate for governor?
Absolutely, Leila. And just a short while ago, Professor Philip Kaloki, he's a running mate to Polycarp Igathe, just walked in. We're waiting to see Sakaja. As soon as we are able to do that, we'll be able to inform our viewers that Sakaja is around. But the wait and see continues for now. Remember, he's been a nominated member of the National Assembly and senator for 5 years, representing Nairobi County in the Senate, the bicameral parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate. So he has been a representative of Nairobi County in the Senate, county number 047. So Wahiga, let me hand it back to you. As soon as we spot Sakaja, definitely we'll be able to tell our viewers and just get to hear what he has to say insofar as this debate is concerned. Back to you, Wahiga.
Thanks so much, Gachuri and Leila. I must warn you, it's getting a bit chilly here in our Studio B, but that debate coming up in the next 30 minutes is expected to heat things up. Already in the building, Polycarp Igathe, the Azimio candidate with his team and his running mate, Professor Philip Kaloki. We're expecting Johnson Sakaja, the UDA candidate, with his hopefully also with his running mate, James Mushiri, also to make their way here shortly. So in case I have to interrupt my guest to take you to that, I will do so that you don't miss any of this action on this live coverage across all stations, both TV and radio as well. Bonakisia, you are giving us your marking scheme, and also feel free now to begin to wade into the next debate. Everyone focused on those two.
Yeah, okay. Now, of course, my colleagues have said a lot about the debate which has just ended, but I think the candidates who are here were very casual. They didn't seem to understand the issues. They didn't provide any solutions. They kept on repeating what we've heard before. There were no new ideas. And if you ask me, I think they should receive a bill. They should receive an invoice for consuming prime time.
And here you are saying I was harsh.
For consuming prime time. And not giving us value. They're not giving us value.
They took their time, they may have engaged researchers. It's not easy.
No, we must be brutal. We must be brutal.
So
they knew they were coming for a debate.
What are your expectations?
They knew they were coming for a debate. They should have done their homework. There was no homework that was done. They probably just thought they were coming here for child's play. I'm sorry. So they get 3, some of them get 1. But that is a warning shot to Honorable Sakaja, who is coming here.
Yes.
And Polycarp Igathe. I hope you're prepared.
Exactly.
Otherwise, again, we'll mark you properly.
How different do you anticipate, and tell me this briefly, the level of debate, the type of questions you now expect to hear in the next debate as compared to the one we just came out of?
You see, I think this is it was child's play. Now,
you don't need to belabor that point. These are adults
the level now we are getting to, you know, we know we had tackles. We expect to deal with policy. We expect them to address the issue of strategy. We expect them to tell us how they are aligning Nairobi's vision and their tactics to Vision 2030. We expect them to tell us how they intend to do things given the manifestos their parties have delivered. Because, see, you are not going to work in a vacuum. Already, the country has Vision 2030. It has about 7-8 years to go. Already, government has programmed itself for the next 7 to 8 years. So if you don't align your thinking to the national government thinking to Vision 2030, you may lose a lot. And you're in the capital city. So I expect these two gentlemen to tell us very, very clearly how they have aligned their programs to the national government. How they, for example, intend to retire the debts. We are now at 75 billion. When I left office, I think it was about 14 billion. Now 75 billion. How are you going to finance projects, capital projects, when you are heavily indebted? So how are you going to deal with the issue of debt? How, which areas are you going to prioritize in terms of service delivery? Of course, the biggest right now in terms of service delivery is the issue of solid waste management. Do you have a solution for solid waste management? I heard one of the candidates in the previous debate talk about, throwing litter. I mean, we churn out 3,000 tons of solid waste daily. How do you intend to deal with that?
So it's not a question of
telling
people
littering.
Stop it now. Yeah. That won't solve the problem overnight. But Professor Odote, for us to understand what sort of governors Johnson Sakaja or Polycarp Igathe or any of the others would be, you have to look at their DNA and sort of where they've come from. You probably know a little bit about these two individuals. What would you say separates them in terms of how they've come up, how Nairobians got to know about them as well? Just give us your analysis.
Thanks, Wahiga. I think if you look at both of them, I think and Philip is laughing. I don't know why he's laughing. But if you look at both of them, I think what separates them is in terms of their background. If you look at both of them are fairly young, so they aren't too old. So you expect modern thinking, which is a good thing. But if you look at the experience that they have, one has an experience in politics, and that's Johnson. Johnson has experience in politics, having founded TNA, having been a nominated MP, having been a senator. So understands the political aspect of running a government. The other one understands management much more. having been in private sector for a long time, having essentially his life is corporate. I think his experience with politics was just 6 months. So I think the debate, and you know, there's been a huge debate in the past. What does county governments require? Do they require a manager or do they require a politician? And the answer is out there. I think in 2013, we thought you required a manager. Later on in 2017, we got to get largely politicians. And if you look at the performance of the governors, you can't say whether the manager is better than the politician or vice versa. So I think that's going to be a lot of the conversation going to take place. On the one instant, when you talk about do you have the experience, the question is going to be what kind of experience? Is it management experience or is it a political experience? That's going to be the critical issue that's going to stand up between the two of them, in my view.
And very important point that you've raised. I want to hear more from Karen on. Karen, when you look at where Nairobi is right now, with NMS still very much involved in Nairobi affairs, with the challenges that Nairobi faces, rapidly increasing population, and the pressure from other capitals around the region who are seemingly shining as well, garbage and transport and housing and so forth. Does Nairobi or would Nairobi fare better in the hands of a career politician or a career professional? Is one of the debates I've been hearing out there, and I'd be keen to hear from you on where you think sort of is the best way forward.
Nairobi would fare well in the hands of a leader, in the hands of a true leader, not a politician and not whatever else you're talking about. But even if it's a politician, are they leaders? Do they have the ability to tap into the power of the resource of the people they have? Do they have a track record to be able to actually transform one thing to the other? Do they have a vision? Are they committed to that? Are they committed to listening to people and implementing policies to the latter? So it's about leadership. It's not about politics or management. They both have a track record. They have led, Igade has led a business and a number of businesses, been in
several
management.
Businesses, actually.
Several businesses. Sakaja has been in the political space from student leadership at SONU at the University of Nairobi. So they both have a track record. But the question is, do they have the leadership ability to transform the county? That is the question.
That's the big question for you this evening. Professor Omenya, I'm going to put you in the shoes of the moderators this evening, and they have their own questions which they'll pose. But if you had a chance to pose a question to each candidate this evening, Johnson Sakaja on one end, Polycarp Igathe on the other, only one, which question, one for each, would you pose?
I think I would pose 2 questions.
You've added more than...
No, there are 2 guys.
One for each.
So you can decide which one you take, who takes what. I think one key question is really about what the position Nairobi occupies in the nation, in the region, and in the globe. So basically, if you're looking at Nairobi as a potential future economic capital, literally, of Africa, how do you get the city there? The other question would be the other way, would be the reverse. Cities are for people. Cities are fundamentally for people. And currently, Nairobi is serving less than actually 10% of the citizens, largely corporates. And we are saying these invisible majorities that live in the slums, that contribute to the economy without getting a service, that have no place for their children to play, whose buildings collapse every day and die there, that walk to industrial area on a day-to-day basis. What are we going to do about them? Are we sending them to Sri Lanka, or will develop the city in a way that all the citizens prosper socially and economically? And what would they realistically do to deal with this dichotomy? The need to create a glitzy city with an expressway, and on the other hand, the need to ensure that this resident